Hello, my name is Godzo Inyang, and I'd like to welcome you formally to the Inyang Perspectives channel. I'd also like to welcome you to my first proper video. Today, we're going to be talking about something that I call the symptom but not the root. And by that, I mean there's a tendency for us in the UK, when pushing for certain policies or certain legislation, for us to aim those policies and legislation at the symptom of a problem rather than just the root issue at hand. I'm going to be talking about that in relation to the recent under 16 social media ban in the UK. Whilst I'm in support of some sort of legislation that's aimed at protecting young people on social media, because I do believe that the way social media works is contributing to a lot of the issues young people are facing, I am against a full and complete ban. The first reason why I'm against a full social media ban is because when you ban young people from doing something, it tends to push them into finding ways to circumvent that and still do that thing. Now, there's two sides to that. Number one, because we banned it, we can't regulate it. So, whatever content that young people do come across when they've circumvented the ban, we can't do anything to protect them with that because now we can't regulate it. Whereas if we just keep it regulated and restrict how social media is used by young people, we can still somewhat regulate it. The second side to that is how effective really is a ban. There's a similar law put in place in Australia last year, a similar under 16 social media ban. And polls were done this year that showed that 72% of the young people that should be banned and that should not be able to access these social media platforms were still using them. So even though we're banning it, how effective is this ban? And if it isn't effective, is it really keeping young people safe, or at least safer than a regulated system would, which I doubt it will. The second reason I'm against a total social media ban for under 16s is because I fear that it takes away accountability from a lot of these social media companies. Yes, the parents have a part on keeping their children safe on social media, of course. Does the government have a part on keeping children safe on social media? Of course. But I feel the number one party we need to be holding accountable is a lot of these social media companies. After all, it is their platform that young people are using. It is their algorithms that are showing young people certain types of content. So of course, shouldn't the person that owns the app, owns the platform, be regulating it and keeping it safe for users, not just children, but users of all ages to be able to use? Social media and social media companies make their money from keeping people as addicted as possible and keeping them on their platforms for as long as possible, fundamentally. The same way that traditional media thrives off negativity such as controversy, such as breaking news, whether it's war, whether it's new disease, whatever it is. The same way traditional media thrives off that negativity and and controversy fundamentally. It's the same way that social media companies fundamentally profit off negativity and controversy as well. They are, I'd say, monetarily incentivized to push negativity, push negative content forward, push controversy forward, push all these negative things that in reality a lot of our young people shouldn't really be seeing, at least until a certain age. Social media companies are incentivized to push that onto the social media feeds, and until we hold these companies, these social media companies, accountable and actually make sure that we're doing their duty and their part in keeping young people safe, they'll continue to push this negative content. As I said before, we need to hold these social media companies accountable because unfortunately they profit off negativity because negativity gets more attention. And that's the fundamental issue. You can see that with traditional media as well. Breaking news stories, wars, disease, whatever it is, negativity and controversy gets more human attention. And social media companies know that. So because of that, they are monetarily incentivized to push negative content, monetarily incentivized to push, algorithms that pump this content onto the social media feeds of young people, push tons of negative, you know, social media creators or content creators onto the feeds of young people. People that push young people saying that, oh, you have to look like this, you have to be doing this, you have to be earning this amount of money by age 21, you have to be a millionaire by 21, you have to look like a supermodel, you have to have this specific type of car. If social media pushes these negative people and this negative type of content onto young people, now people that are ready, because at a young age, children are very impressionable at a young age. So when they see all these highly successful social media creators, that are pushing these messages that are often really harmful, whether it's physically or mentally for young people, of course, people are going to develop, mental health issues. Of course, people are going to be depressed. Of course, people are going to have a lot of like inferiority complexes. And whilst those aren't purely caused by social media, because those are still very natural things as well, social media increases the effect of them tenfold. This goes back to my point that a lot of the legislation being introduced, such as the recent ban, targets the symptom of the issue, not the actual root. Because, okay, you ban young people from using social media till 16. What then? You haven't solved the root issue at hand, that we need to educate young people and the population as a whole on how to avoid these negative content creators, and how to avoid ending up in echo chambers, and how to avoid just surrounding ourselves with negativity and all these bad messages. Until we solve that fundamental issue of educating young people, we can release as much legislation as we want, we can ban everything we want, but the fundamental issue at hand will be solved. Yes, we should protect young people. But what does banning social media until they're 16 do? Maybe a ban for primary school children, I can understand completely. But especially for secondary school children, a total ban until 16 does not help them, because you haven't solved the fundamental issue of teaching them how to use social media in a safe and non addictive way. And we haven't held these companies accountable and legally accountable to make sure that, hey, yes, you have social media. Yes, you're gonna push certain types of content onto young people's pages, but make sure it's not content that's harming them mentally. Make sure it's not push them to harm themselves physically. Until we force these companies and take action against them, like real action, not just fines, but legally enforce them to push policies and reduce the addictiveness and harmfulness of the content that they're pushing, the fundamental issue will not be solved. Thank you for listening to me rant about the recent social media ban in the UK. If you have any advice on how I can improve my content or improve my videos in the future, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. But until then, this is God's Will out.